So Sid Rosenberg of WABC Radio, who's been a Met fan his whole life, he's now wearing the Yankee jersey. And he's a Yankee fan now because Mr. Met hugged Mamdani. And he's saying the Charlie Kirk joke by Gary Cohen was horrible. They celebrated Pride Night, God forbid. They're not celebrating Jewish Heritage Night this year, which I think that's a little wrong. The Yankees hosted Trump, and they're hosting Mamdani, and the woke Mets, this and that, all this crap. My thing is, you can make the case that the Mets are leaning a little liberal. I thought the Gary Cohen comments were disgusting, but I think Gary Cohen's a little, worm. Like I said, as someone that has worked with him in radio with doing the Seton Hall games, behind the board, behind the scenes, he's not a good dude. He's not a good dude. So, and I'm not shocked that he's a self-righteous, flaming liberal. So I'm not surprised by that. The Pride thing, I don't know why people get so upset over Pride Nights. I don't understand. It's a celebration of something. I don't understand why it's a society gay people bother us, but we still have homophobes in this country. The Jewish Heritage Night thing, to me, I think, I think that's got Mamdani written all over it. I'm sorry. We know he's a Met fan. We know Lindor's wife is pretty much working for him. The fact that they're having no Jewish Heritage Night, okay, I'll meet you halfway there. Maybe that's Mamdani telling Steve Cohen, listen, you know what? Don't. But then again, Steve Cohen's Jewish. So it doesn't make any sense. It does not. And I think they're going to get backlash enough to Mets that the Mets will eventually do a Jewish Heritage Night. Also, to me, I feel like most Jewish people in New York are Mets fans. So I am at a loss with that one. But, and again, you can make the case that they shipped off all the conservative voting players that maybe voted for Trump. They shipped off. Okay, listen, I can see that. And I'll even entertain that. But the fact that people, especially Sid Rosenberg, are leaving the Mets and trashing the Mets and leaving their fandom out there because the fucking mascot hugged Mamdani. I mean, what are we doing here as a society? I'm sorry. And again, Mayor Mamdani, man, as someone that has someone real close to them, in law enforcement, I don't think he's good for the cops. I don't think he likes cops. That bothers me. I think that some of his rhetoric and stuff that he said about, taxing white people more and this and that, I think it's troubling. Do I think there's some anti-Semitism there, especially with his wife and stuff that she's sharing? Yeah, I think there's some smoke there. But again, I could disagree with the man's policies and maybe some of his, the way he does things. But we're not lifelong Met fans are not rooting for the Mets because the fucking mascot hugged Mamdani. And at the end of the day, he's anti-American. Why? Because he's Muslim? My thing is, disagree with the man's policies, disagree with him all you want. You can dislike the politician. If you're a Republican, you don't gotta like him. Okay, that's fine. But don't like him because he's a Democrat. Don't like him because you don't like his policies. Don't like him like my thing. And again, I don't think I don't like him. I think if I was at a bar with Mayor Mamdani, I think he'd be a great time, and I think he'd be a good time to have a couple of beers with. But my thing is, I'm not going to sit there and excommunicate the guy. Like Curtis Lee was getting bashed because he's actually talking to the man. I don't understand it. Why can't we all get along? And I think most of it is because he's a Muslim. And that's wrong. And Sid Rosenberg, to me, has always been someone that has been racist. Let's look at the things he said on Imus in the morning. Let's look at the things he said on WABC. Let's just take a look at how he handled the whole thing with Bernie. Leaving and, passing away and all that stuff. And I've listened to Sid Rosenberg my whole life. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not a Sid fan. I've enjoyed his shows. I've listened to him. Like I said, WNEW, the sports guys. That was the first time I ever heard Sid. And I even followed Sid and was listening to him on the streams in Miami. But I think he's wrong here. And I think he's not getting the whole picture. And I think Sid should be someone to be the bigger man, especially after the whole thing that came out with how he was talking about Mamdani and this and that, and he had to put out an apology. I think Sid should have the mayor on the show. And I'm not saying Sid should lick his ass. But, I mean, I just think that he should be a little bit more open-minded. Now, as someone, and I'm not Jewish, Sid Rosenberg is a Jewish man. He feels that Mamdani is anti-Semitic. And if he wants to feel that, and if he wants to sit there and get angry for that, he has every right to, because this is a man who's thinking that this person is attacking his religion. And I respect that. I do. But I do think there should be that discussion. I do also think that the mayor should be held to a better standard here, and I think those questions should continue to be repeatedly asked of him. Because there was a lot of anti-Semitism in his cabinet and the surrounding since he got into the office. And I think that's got to be addressed. But my thing is, I just think Sid Rosenberg not rooting for the Mets anymore after 59 years because Mr. Met hugged Mamdani. I think it's just a reach, Sid. I'm sorry. I think it's just a reach. And you can call me every name in the book because, like I said, I like Sid. Sid is very successful. His morning show did very well, #1 in New York on WABC. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like this guy is getting a .2 rating and he has to do this for ratings. He's getting the ratings. People listen to Sid Rosenberg. I think leaving your fandom out there, I think is a little foolish. I'm sorry. If the Yankees got political with something that I didn't agree with, I wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't say, all right, I'm done with them. Been a Yankee fan my whole life. I won't be a Yankee fan if they keep sitting here bringing back Will Warren and Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman and not winning a championship. Then maybe I'll think about leaving. But I'm not going to leave because they do something political. And again, like I said, who cares about the Pride Night? Let them celebrate Pride Night. Come on. Do I think the Mets are woke? No. Do I think a lot of people in their team support Mamdani and are liberal Democrats? Yes, I think I do. But root for them.
Hit 95.1 is your home for Jimbo and Casio in the morning, plus Shay, Fox, and Ms. Josie rocking you all day. The very best rock from the very best bands, all free. Your rock station is Rocket 95.1.
13-4 Yankees win today in the Bronx. A Saturday matinee win over the Kansas City Royals. Will Warren, shows you how bad Kansas City is. Will Warren, 7 innings, 2-run ball, 11 strikeouts. Solid outing by Warren. Got to give the devil his due. I'm always bashing him here on this channel, but I got to give Will Warren his credit. Give him his flowers today. He was solid. I don't know if that's how it is with Warren turning the corner or Kansas City's that bad. I didn't think they would be a big contender this year, but they are struggling early on. They've looked terrible. Their bullpen has looked lost. Their lineup really also, outside of a couple of guys in the lineup, has looked lost. And the Yankees continue again to sometimes have big offensive outbursts against lesser pitching, which I guess is good. They've also struggled against bad pitching, but at home, short porch, they seem to get some runs in. Rosario started it today with a 2-run home run. McMahon also, another one, I got to give him his flowers last night. Big hero last night with a go-ahead 2-run homer, Ryan McMahon, and I have killed him. Rightfully so. But he came up last night, big win last night, 4-2, so they've taken the series against Kansas City. Yankees have struggled immensely after the 7-1 start. Really lucky they didn't get swept by Anaheim in the Bronx. They won 2 tight games and got their asses kicked the other 2. But this is a team that, like I said, this is anywhere from an 82 to 86 win team. And the reason I say that they're even going to win that many games because I don't think the AL is that great. Their division right now is, now obviously before I said this I thought the division would be better, but right now their division looks to be wide open. But I don't think the AL is that great. And I think they have some pieces, obviously. I mean, you have 3 major league hitters: Stanton, Judge, and Bellinger. And 2 of them haven't really even hit their potential for 2026. And yes, Stanton now is in a big slump. He started red hot, and now he's cooling down. Ben Rice is hitting, and he seems to be hitting consistently. I want to see a little bit more from him. Grisham looked horrible. We know how I feel about Jazz. So there's a lot of holes. And the pitching rotation also. I think the bullpen is going to be their weakness. I think bullpen and defense is going to be the reason why the Yankees don't go a little bit more than what I have them projected. And they're either going to not make the playoffs or they're going to be a third wild card, judging from what they are now, unless they make deals at the deadline. But it's a good win today. Now on to the Mets. They're now trailing 4-1. Peralta looked good up until the 6th inning where he gave up the home run. Cubs now lead 4-1, but the Mets have runners at first and second, nobody out. In the 8th, top of the 8th. So we'll see what happens here, as the Mets have lost 9 in a row. 9 in a row, by the way, after losing, after Mr. Met hugged Mamdani, which everyone's having a panic attack about, I guess maybe because, he's a Muslim. People are, up in arms. I've never seen so many racist people in this guy. People are actually not rooting for the Mets anymore because Mr. Met hugged Mamdani. Like, that's how disgusting we are as a society. Like, what are we doing here? But 9 in a row, they've lost. They look bad. Lindor's sitting there smiling. And they look lost. Mendoza, I don't think they'll fire him. But I think it's warranted if they do. If they come back from the road trip still not having a win or 1 or 2 wins, I think you can make the case for firing Mendoza. Do I think Stearns will do it? No. Because do I think he has anyone at the ready? No. Because I don't think he thought this would be a problem. I don't think he was thinking I'll fire my manager in April. Right now, it's getting to that. I mean, they went through a stretch where they out of 4 games, they got shut out. Three out of the 4 games, they got shut out. So, it's not good. It's not good at all. But the Yankees, like I said, have won 2 in the Bronx versus Kansas City. And the Mets right now trail 4-1, but they have first and second now, nobody out. In the 8th, we'll see if they can do something there.
Save up to $10 on Lake Compounds tickets when you buy online. The fun you share together is unforgettable. Like Daniel Tiger's new show, Gorific Day. Visit lakecompounds.com. Unforgettable.
A lot of talk this week as to why ESPN is giving so much press and so much media attention and so much airtime to WWE Wrestlemania. It's not a real thing. It's fake. It's a soap opera. Why are we giving all this time? You have real sports that are going on. First off, WWE has signed a huge deal with ESPN. If you're smart, you know that. So ESPN is going to obviously give them some press here. Now, this isn't Backlash. This isn't Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. This isn't Fully Loaded. This isn't just a B-level pay-per-view. This is WrestleMania week. Okay? Yes, the NBA playoffs are starting this week. Yes, the NHL playoffs are starting this week. Baseball's still in week 3 of a 162-game season. College basketball is over with. The Masters are over. The draft is next week. So I don't have a problem with it. I could see the problem and I could understand if, like I said, it was Backlash, it was Night of Champions, it was something that just wasn't, even SummerSlam. But WrestleMania week, while it doesn't have the buzz this year, and while I'm not really that intrigued and invested in it, it's a huge deal in the wrestling world. And ESPN and the WWE have a contract signed. Their pay-per-view stream on the ESPN app. They have stuff on there. This is all part of the deal. Now, the way that they're making what they have the wrestlers on, and they're not breaking kayfabe, and they're making like this. It's real. Like the not the Alexa Bliss. The Liv Morgan interview was a little bit of a reach with Stephen A. That was a little bit of a reach. I could see people's point there, but again, I raise you the fact that WWE and ESPN have a business venture, a business partnership, and this is all part of the business, man. And again, it's WrestleMania week. Deal with it. You know, and again, opening round of the NBA playoffs, at least here in New York. I mean, the Knicks are going to win in 5. Maybe I give Atlanta a game on the road. You know, back in Atlanta. Other than that, I mean, what are we doing here? Who cares? And if you're a New York baseball fan, the Yankees and Mets suck. I mean, I'll talk about Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton all day before I talk about the Yankees offense and the Mets offense. Let's be real here. So, yeah, WrestleMania week, I have no issue with it. I applaud it. It's not Backlash. It's not Extreme Rules. It's WrestleMania. Give ESPN.
The $5 Big Breakfast Deal is back at Wawa for a limited time. Get any Sizzly, any size hot or iced coffee, and a crispy hash brown, all for just $5. The $5 Big Breakfast Deal is back. Gotta have a Wawa.
People are upset about the induction for Sid Vicious last night, which I thought was very disrespectful. Sid is one of my all-time favorites. When you sit here, top 10 wrestlers of all time that I have enjoyed watching. Sid and Vader, to me, were just incredible because for men of their size, I mean, when I was a kid watching them, I was wowed. I was wowed by Sid's look. I was wowed by Vader's look. And the way they moved, and I appreciate them more now as an adult, watching their work, YouTubing old matches of them. Some matches also, Vader in New Japan was an animal. Much like Scott Norton, who also gets a very, very underrated worker, Scott Norton. I could go on for about 20 minutes about Scott Norton and how good of a worker he was and how he should have had a bigger run in the United States than obviously he had a great run in Japan. But that's besides the point. The Hall of Fame induction last night for Sid, the family has gone on to say that it was disrespectful, which it was. And I also find it funny that for 30 minutes, I mean, for 60 minutes, Stephanie McMahon spoke. Bret Hart was told 5 minutes. They were yanking Ric Flair off the stage. Stephanie got an hour. Again, I get it. It's Stephanie McMahon, but come on here. I just feel like I think it's been since 2017, 2018, the deceased wrestlers have gotten pretty much little to no respect with the Hall of Fame induction. And I know the Hall of Fame, WWE, is not a real Hall of Fame. It's not, not the Baseball Hall of Fame, not the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the Football Hall of Fame, not the Hockey Hall of Fame. But it is something that, it makes the families proud or makes the people proud that they're in it. And for the amount of work that Sid did in the WWF, former world champion, what he did in WCW, the worker he was, the man that he was, I thought he should have got a better send-off there. Also, Sid and Vader should have been in when they were alive. And that was mistake number 1. And you can go back on this channel, Vader Hall of Fame breakdown, when he got inducted. And I went crazy because, again, this guy should have been inducted when he was alive. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, YouTube a lot of Sid's matches. YouTube Sid Vicious in WCW, Sid Justice WWF, the early stuff. I mean, just incredible. Even his run in WCW, yeah, he wasn't the best promo. But you know what? He still gave some top-notch stuff. He was entertaining in WCW, even in 2000, 2001. So, again, it's unfortunate. It sucks. Like I said, my stance from watching this channel. You know how I feel about the WWE Hall of Fame. I think there's people that are in it that shouldn't be in, people that are not in it that should be. And the way they handled the whole thing here with Sid Vicious was just absolutely disgusting. So I agree with the family. Ruler of the world, master of the power bomb. Sid, you deserve better.
We face an enemy that is ever growing. We need to protect the American people.
President Reagan, you got us here, sir. You got the Russians to the table. Gorbachev came to play. But if we fail here, there will be war.
Of all the places on Earth you could pick for a meeting about the fate of the human race, you picked a house in Iceland?
Perfect for security.
Good to see you, Mr. President. You're early, always looking for the advantage.
I never imagined I'd see the controls for 70,000 nuclear weapons in the same room.
Here we are, the two of us, deciding whether there will be peace or war in the world.
We have tens of thousands of nuclear warheads all pointed at each other.
Why don't we just get rid of all of them? Every single nuclear weapon on Earth gone.
This is a fantasy. You have come in here with a fantasy.
I know how lonely the job feels, being responsible for millions of people.
The Russians will not listen unless we are strong.
You have a history of suspicion of us.
He is scanning all our communications.
How do you expect my people to trust you?
The United States will remain strong. We can strike you first with impunity.
We will strike as well.
The arrogance of the Americans. We are a strong people. And we have learned that strength is how you win a war.
We're not trying to win a war. We're trying to end one.
But what gets me is this whole build for WrestleMania, which I think is one of the worst builds that we've ever seen for WrestleMania since I've been watching wrestling. And I started to get into the WWF around 90, 97, 98. And even 2010, which I thought was one of the worst WrestleManias, there's been a few doozies. 2012, 2013 really wasn't that great. But this, to me, just has zero buzz. Zero. Now, again, I wasn't that big into the build last year. Although it started to pick up at the end, and I thought the show did deliver. I'm hesitant to say this year if the program is going to deliver on any night. And if it's going to deliver, it's going to be on night 2. And we're going to do a night 2 preview tomorrow, but I don't even think it's even relative to discuss a night 1 or preview a night 1 of WrestleMania. I don't even think it's worth the airtime. Obviously, the big one is going to be Cody and Orton. And Pat McAfee getting involved, which I'm sorry. I have never thought Pat McAfee is that great. I think he does an okay radio show. But even that sometimes is a bit of a tough listen. It's like you're chewing on a $2 leather rubber steak. Sometimes listening to that, it's just there's only so much alpha male bro toxicity that you can take listening within a 3-hour span. And I don't really think he's that intelligent in a number of sports. Granted, he was a punter in the NFL. It's a hell of a lot more than I did, but you know, I mean, he's not an insider. That being said, I think WWE has fumbled this Pat McAfee thing, which we hear is pretty much TKO. Ari Emanuel and Nick Khan pretty much saying, okay, we have to insert Pat McAfee into this. Now, there could have been 1,000 not 1,000, but there could have been so many other ways that the WWE could have done this. Now, we've played Monday Morning Quarterback before on wrestling storylines, especially WWE storylines. Just look at 1999 with the greater power. Hell, Jake Roberts would have been great. Even Cyrus, Don Callis. There would have been anyone better than what it turned out to be Vince. And I think anyone would have been better than Pat McAfee. Kevin Owens was one that I thought we've talked about that would have been interesting. Maybe Owens is the power guy from TKO. Hell, even Vince. Even Vince now. I don't know if it would go over and it would receive well. I think a lot of that stuff is kind of fresh in people's minds. But Vince would have been like, wow, okay. Even Stephanie, who they had come out and slap Cody a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. It could have been anyone except McAfee. And I think this notion that they're making Dusty Rhodes out to be the greatest wrestler that ever lived. I mean, my God. Dusty was great, he was entertaining, but the fact that we're making him out to be Hulk Hogan is a little much. And he did a hell of a lot more in the NWA and WCW than he did in the WWE. But that being said, I will say this on the Cody Orton match. I think Cody needs a desperation heel turn here. You could say, how many times have we seen this in the last couple of WrestleManias where you have the swerve? It's starting to get Vince Russo-y in terms of how many swerves we get to see at WrestleMania. But I guess if the swerve is done right, it makes for great television. It makes for a great moment. People start buzzing. And that's what you want from your product. And Cody has mentioned being kicked in the balls a lot, so maybe we'll see something there. Thing is, does he just turn heel by himself? Does he have people in his corner? Will McAfee turn on Orton? We don't know. Also, McAfee saying that I think if Cody wins, McAfee will be gone from WWE forever. Usually when you make that statement, that means that that's what happens. Cody's going to win. But we're hearing now that Randy Orton is really hurt going into tonight. So they could pull an audible. I don't know how they would do it. And again, I'm curious to see how they do it. But I mean, just talking about this has got me all worked up. I just don't think that Orton and Rhodes has any juice. And I think McAfee has made it worse. Because there's the collective, and I know the internet wrestling community is vilified, but they have a point here. This is something that really, and Pat McAfee works, I think, better as a heel. But in this instance, on this stage, in this match, a night one main event match, I don't think McAfee should be this involved. Do I expect it to be a good match? Listen, Cody's a tremendous worker. Orton's a tremendous worker. Randy Orton's one of my favorites. 100%. Tremendous. Love me some Orton. But I think that if we go out of this and we come out of night one with Cody not a heel, it will be very disappointing. Very disappointing. I think Cody will turn heel. And how I'm predicting it is Cody defeats Orton. McAfee goes to help Orton. Stops. Cody low blows Orton. Wins it. 1, 2, 3. Boom. That's it. I think he'll hit the crossroads after he low blows him. Depending on how hurt Orton is, I don't think this match is going to be long also. So we could see the undercard get some more time, which may be better. But, and Paige coming back tonight, they already ruined that surprise. That would have been a nice little surprise. We don't really get much surprises in wrestling anymore. It's just like, announced breaking news. This one's returning. don't you think you should kind of hold off for the surprise? And ticket sales, to my knowledge, WrestleMania has not sold out, which is insane to me. Insane. So I'm curious to see how they spin the attendance records, because WWE for years, they said 100,000 people were in the Silverdome. Was not. It was about 70, 80,000, but it wasn't 93,000. And they played with the numbers before. I'm curious to see what they'll do here, because from what I'm seeing, they got about a little over 40,000 for night one. And I think a lot of it has to be, I think the reason that the product, I think, to me is not doing so great, and there's no buzz around WrestleMania. I think Vegas was a horrible place to go back to. And not saying that Vegas is a bad sports town, but the thing is, you already ran Vegas last year. I think that another place would have been fresh, would have been new, would have been something to garner some interest. If you went last year to Vegas, to Mania, you're not going this year. Unless you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you're not affording those tickets 2 years in a row. So that's another thing. That's number one. Number two, I feel like they're not building the storylines. Now, there's no shortage of stars, I think. Like I said, Orton, Cody, Paige, Becky Lynch. They have stars. But there's nothing that's enticing. The storylines aren't hitting. Number three, I think just this whole thing also, I think Raw on Netflix, I think, was a horrible idea. Looking back on it, I think it's hurt the product. I think as much as we sit here and say streaming services are the way to go, for some reason it's not translating to live events. People don't seem to be welcoming to that. People will sit there and watch a true crimes documentary on Netflix. But a weekly episodic show, count WWE as sports entertainment, it's just not getting the buzz. Also, the ESPN app, the whole thing with the pay-per-views, that's not working. It's a horrible app. I don't have it. I know 3 people that have it. And it kicks them out after 7 seconds. It's just not, it's not good. So I think those factors, to me, I think are a big reason why WrestleMania is not succeeding. Night 2, I think you'll have a little bit more juice. And there's a lot more to pick apart for night 2. And we'll dissect night 1 tomorrow when we preview night 2. But I'm not having high hopes on night 1. And again, I'm not going to watch it. I don't have the ESPN app. I will not be watching WrestleMania. I'll be watching the highlights. And I'll be trying to watch as much as I can to analyze for tomorrow. But I just don't see I don't see it. So, again, my prediction, Cody Rhodes turning heel tonight, defeating Orton. Low blow, crossroads, 1, 2, 3. Cody retains. And that is that.